Good morning, everyone. I'm here to do a follow-up to a short that I posted earlier this morning. I was trying to carry on with my day, and I was pulled to extend the message and explain a little bit more in detail in terms of what your person overcame that's allowing him or her to be able to step forward into their new life that you manifested together. And you've been patiently waiting to hear from this person. It's not that you're not in communication. What I mean by that, like what I explained in the short this morning, is finally in an authentic way how they really feel. Okay. They were contending with some pretty serious things here, and this is not a joke. The things that I channel and talk about are very serious. Now, obviously, this may not resonate with everyone. And again, remember, you are in charge of your own life. If this part of this resonates, great. If none of it resonates, and click off. But for those of you who needed or wanted more information, to dive deeper into the previous channeling from this morning, then please stay with me as we work through the information that came out here for us. Okay. So this, I didn't notice this had fallen over. So there are people that are clicking off. And so now we're just going to give a second here to reset the energy, because some were not willing yet to receive information like this. And I should preface actually and give kind of a trigger warning here that we're going to be talking about shadow parts of energy, karmic energy, and I know that that's not always easy for people to hear, all right? But just know that we are always safe as light beings and beings created from love and from source light energy. So please bring in any extra guides or energies that, or ancestors that you feel you may need and want to help support you as you listen and as we move forward here, okay? And I'm just going to set let language here. So that will allow us to move forward after and not have any kind of cords attached. Okay. All right, there we go. Perfect. So the divine is here guarding this reading, so not to worry. Judgment will be rendered to those who have broken karmic law and spiritual law. All right. And it starts in the spiritual realm first, because we are created in that realm. So, and then we manifest in the physical for those of us who want to take form in this way. So just know that the higher beings that are tasked with this are on it, and they're going to ensure that anything that is still outstanding in terms of justice, the justice card was in the message this morning, but justice is very much tied in with judgment here, is going to be rendered. Okay, this isn't anything for us to worry about. In terms of spiritual realm, I'm talking about, not in the physical, okay, that they're going to dish out what needs to be dished out here to address this devilish karmic energy that was heavily entrenched here in your timeline, okay, at some point. And it could be bloodline, generational as well, and ancestral for many of us. Many of us who have incarnated in this lifetime are here to break curses, trapped trauma that has been carried over from life after life after life, and generational, and both the paternal and maternal bloodlines. That's not easy to do. It's not for the faint of heart, and it's the strongest. So viewer, if you're resonating with this, you are the strongest in your lineage that stepped forward, that was granted permission to come and do this work. And when we come and do this work, we're not alone. You're afforded every tool available, every piece of knowledge, every being out there that is tasked with helping energy overcome their shadow, the shadow part that would otherwise create an imbalance if that darkness kind of takes form as a whole. We can't allow that. And we've seen time after time situations where that has happened, and that's why there's destruction in the areas and in the parts of the universe, I'll call it, in every timeline, realm, dimension, where an energy like this kind of took power and abused a power, okay? Because there is an imbalance when that happens. So ultimately, Source has the ultimate control, not control in the sense of power over, but has the codes and the understanding and the knowledge and the knowing in terms of how to battle this. Okay, we come here incarnated in a physical plane of existence in a very dense way to better understand, so we can overcome energy like this and grow as souls, okay, on this journey. So that was more like spiritual explanation of energy like this. I'm going to now just jump into unpacking in terms of a physical reality in everyday to day functioning and behavior, and unmap and decode what would have otherwise been embedded here through dark magic and black magic and curse energy, okay? All of that means is the intention behind it, okay? So when you speak, when energy that's really lost and confused, okay, and is very unwell and sick, okay, they could be trapped in some way, but at some point they became disconnected from source, therefore disconnected from themselves. They're lost souls, basically fallen angels. And we all need to fall to be able to come back up. Falling in the sense of coming down into this physical plane of existence, like what I was saying earlier. It's not a judgment, okay? It is a part of growth and growing. The key is to be able to understand what parts of you that you struggle with that would otherwise be a shadow part, and overcome that. And a lot of advanced souls came at very pivotal points to be able to share some of these teachings with us. And I'm not going to review all those today. But these are very, they present as very basic, but they're not. They're very difficult to master. And nobody's perfect, certainly. But the point is that you become aware that you need to at least try and make conscious efforts every single day to work towards overcoming that shadow. And that's not easy. Okay, that's really, really hard. And not one person, energy, soul is exempt from that. It doesn't matter which realm, where we exist, where we go, where we've traveled, where we've come from, where we're going. That's a part of you. It's the makeup of the design of the energy, the source, okay? So your person was contending with something extremely dark, okay? And a lot of the cards came out in reverse, which is very unusual in my readings. Typically, they don't come out like that. And I was shocked, and I thought, oh, so when I looked at them, I was like, oh yeah, it's an extension definitely of our message this morning. So we're dealing with somebody who is trapped, a dark empress, okay? Reversed is really not good. Presents to the outer world that they're very loving mother, very caring. And again, this is a repeated kind of infection in the bloodline where somebody here, and it could be on both sides, your side and your person's side, but there was somebody here that was really dark, okay? And that held your person back because this person is lost, okay? I'm just seeing complete darkness here, and they don't have the ability to function in a way that's healthy, appropriate. They don't communicate in a way that's authentic or honest. It's highly, highly, highly toxic, and a lot of trickery and manipulation, okay? They chose very quickly, they were pulled into temptation, okay? And they chose I'm hearing the dark side. I know it sounds dramatic, but that's what I'm hearing, and it matches with what I'm seeing through this dark magician, dark magic here, to be able to try and control or create a life in an energy of control where they would have kind of a stamp and a thumb on somebody. And when somebody tries to exercise power and control in this way, it's fear-based. It's always fear-based, and it's always from a place of wounding. I don't want to talk about what this person's wounds are. It doesn't matter. This reading isn't to unpack more of this person. It's more for you to understand what your person faced leading up to being in a relationship with you, and to better understand what they're coming out of and what they overcame, because this is not easy to overcome energy like this and to master oneself, to be able to better understand what darkness like this looks like and the impact that this has had not only on their own life, but also their future, and how it prevented them from being the true person that they were meant to be. Okay. But they've mastered it. They've overcome this. This is just where they're coming out of. Okay. And it took a long time. And that Eight of Wands came up again. The Eight of Wands was in our previous reading from this morning. The Page of Pentacles, a repeat card again. Okay. Now, this is some of the information that they've come into recently, and they have a better understanding, and I feel like they're going to feel comfortable enough to talk to you about it. They've made that decision. They're coming. There's that the Knight of Pentacles. That was in our previous reading as well. And they turned their back on an energy of turning their back on source, on God, on the universe, on whatever it is that they attribute their spiritual connection to, their soul's light and being to, in terms of where they come from, how they were created, whatever their thoughts are on that. They're bored with the past way of operating, okay? And they're bored with dealing and contending with energy like this, okay? I think this person is a beautiful soul who was really trying to help this person and got lost in that somehow, okay? And they realize it caused them tremendous amount of stress because they kind of got roped in without realizing they were roped in. But there's always a way out. The Eight of Swords isn't here, but it's because they've overcome it. Instead of the Eight of Swords, it's the Eight of Wands, because they are letting go of all this. This is why these cards are laying down. These cards are facing up. Okay, so you have the Emperor. I just noticed the Emperor facing up over top the Empress in reverse. So they've also overcome, your person's overcome the shadow aspects of their feminine energy as well. Okay, because this can also be explained in such a way that it's also the way that their energy was themselves, because they manifested in the outer world in terms of a partnership what was mirrored back to them, so they could better understand what parts of them are wounded and what parts of their previous life prior to being with this person here that was wounded. So again, that maternal energy. So whatever and however the feminine energy was affected in your person's life in a way that was very unhealthy and toxic, she manifested a partner eventually in their life as they become adults that mirrored that same energy. Okay, but they've seen the light now, and they only want to connect to things that are of the light. And they're not hanging on to the despair, to the boredom, to the false teachings, false attributes of an energy that they are seeing now that was riddled with manipulation and illusion and trickery, meaning they presented to your person in such a way that it's like the devil's tongue. I'm seeing they look like perfect shiny being with all these jewels, like I'm seeing all this like a treasure all around them, and they're shining it looks impressive, but I'm seeing it kind of slowly but surely kind of dim and fall down, and then it doesn't look very nice. I don't want to explain more than that, but it's very, very dark. So that tells us that this person is seeing very clearly in terms of what used to be illusion, and they see the truth of it now, and they actually have empathy, and they have sadness and compassion for this person, because it's very, very sad to think that somebody would behave this way to try and control somebody's life in the way that they did that. Okay. And it was deliberate attempts to destroy a family, an attempt for him to move on and build a new family somewhere else. Okay. And these energies are going to be forced to let go, because this was a positive card I got. These didn't feel positive. This one is. Okay. They had no remorse. Look, they didn't care. And this person, if they didn't dabble in this stuff themselves, they hired somebody to do it. That, because again, it's a cowardly way of operating. Most of these people operate in the dark. Some don't, and are very arrogant and think like they're going to intimidate by being out there and do these things. But it doesn't matter. Your light shines so bright that it afforded your person protection to be able to move through this energy and deal with it. Okay, we can never save anybody else. We can't do the work for anybody else. We can't. Unions like this, and when you're contending with energy like this, it's very difficult to translate spiritual things into the physical. If your person, quote unquote, wasn't awake like you, and you tried to approach this person, even though you might have known about this, okay, because I don't see the high priestess here, but that you are the high priestess in this union here. It wouldn't have been received well. They wouldn't have understood. And it's really an attempt to interfere, and from a good place, I would understand why. But, ultimately, I think, and if that happened to you, have compassion with yourself, because you always are coming from a place of wanting to protect and to help. And it's not easy to have to step back, knowing that this is happening perhaps, and knowing that this person for a while was bamboozled and was under the illusion that this wasn't really happening. Okay, that's not easy. But that's how strong you are, viewer, that you were able to step back. If you stopped yourself from approaching to try to do that, that's great. That wasn't the wrong thing to do. It's just that very often I've not heard very often of a situation where people who have tried this, it worked initially, because, most of the time, again, we can't interfere with people's learning. So I'm talking about spiritual things here. I'm not talking about physical. If ever you think somebody's at risk of physical harm or to be hurt, obviously act on that. I'm not speaking about those situations. I'm talking about spiritual warfare. That's very different. Okay. You probably did a lot of the work spiritually as well, energetically from a distance. And that was the way to tackle that. You tackle spiritual warfare with spiritual practices and with light. And you did that in such a way that afforded this person enough light to be able to lift that person up out of this, shield them so they could move through it. And they did. Okay, they did. This person's not confused anymore. Your person's not confused anymore. They came out as the Emperor, who's very relaxed. Okay. This is the past. They weren't. And they were tricked into thinking that, oh, well, I did the right thing by leaving this person that I love now, and I don't have a future with them, and it's never going to work, and I have to stay over here because, of A, B, C, D, E, if it was a divorce or a separation, and that there's children involved, and all of the ways that this person mastered the element of creating fear and darkness and keeping this person trapped. It worked for a period of time, but no longer. I hear and I see chains that are on the ground. There's nobody attached to the chains, and it feels like really old energy that this person's miles and miles ahead and is long gone away from here. So it could just be that now they're ready to catch up in terms of the physical world and come find you and finally have this long overdue conversation. Okay. They also, I'm sensing here that they also wanted to make sure that you were safe spiritually, that they wouldn't ever put you in danger. So this person's higher self was always kind of guiding them and making sure that that the union was safe, that they were safe, that you were safe. Okay? And they learned the lesson. Your person's learned the lesson. They see very clearly. Okay? They were sore, meaning hurt for quite some time after learning that this person dabbled in this kind of stuff. Because as you can imagine, it's the same way you would have felt when you started to learn about this stuff. It's very disheartening to hear that people do things like this. That this person could have very well funded through, if they were in a relationship and they shared money, some of these things that this person paid for. They were services, or if this person kind of already knew somehow as dark templates in their backgrounds, you know, sometimes this is generational, where it's passed on from generation to generation. They could have been manipulated themselves. Like, I'm not making excuses for people, but sometimes, like, brainwashing is a very serious thing. Emotional manipulation, psychological warfare, we know all about these things. It's very, very damaging. It's very, very scary. It's very, very serious, and it's very difficult to tackle. But you tackle it with love, with education, okay? And, you know, always ensuring that you're safe at every single step. So I feel like there was a lot of intervention from the realms for this person, and that this person never worked alone. And now they're in their power, and they're standing tall, and they're strong. And these represent all the lessons that they overcame, okay? To be able to stand up tall now and move forward in the right way. Because this devil has no hold anymore. No hold. It's in the past. And they're being judged. Okay. You afforded this person enough light to save them. And they're rushing now. They're moving very quickly to be able to connect properly in the ways that they need to bring in as much light as possible to the situation. And then it'll basically transmute everything that could still be kind of lingering in the fields, and will free both of you from any kind of residual pain and suffering and trauma. Basically, it'll afford the healing needed to be able to step into this union fully and completely after such a really dark, difficult time, okay? And this is also your team that's going to kind of travel the timeline to make sure that all portals are closed that would otherwise have remained open with the dark magic that was done here. I'm hearing the gates of, I don't even want to say the word because we don't want to give attention to it, but the gates to the darker, like the darker realms, we'll call it, are closed. Okay, they're going to go clean all that up. So you guys can stay focused on being planted here in the physical. This person loves and cares for you very, very much. Very, very much. And they might even apologize and acknowledge that some of this was at play here. I'm hearing it was deeply embedded in the bloodlines ancestrally, okay? This person was obsessed with power. Very, very toxic, very, very superficial, and very much planted in the 3D material world. And that's the trap as we know. That's the trap as we know. Yeah, see? There's still some confusion there out there for some people. Fortunately, some people aren't quite as advanced as this yet. For some people, they're just in it now, but just know that they're letting go. For now, I'm going to channel another smaller wave of people here, but your person is not holding on anymore. There's enough space that they're going to receive the enlightenment that they need. So this is the intervention I'm talking about. So they're coming. They're coming, okay? So we're moving out of that energy, and they're going to choose love again and come back full force properly. So I'm just correcting for some that would otherwise, oh, do you see? have fallen. Okay. No, we're not going back. We're going forward. There's the Hierophant. There we go. Okay. Because for some people, they still had some residual energy floating in the fields that was causing, it's like psychic attacks, psychological interruption. But I'm seeing that being cleared out as we speak. So I'm hearing clapping. So my team is saying I've channeled this perfectly. And they just want me to provide a clearing with some Palo Santo here as we call in our guides in the realms. And we thank Mother Gaia for this sacred medicine of this Palo Santo here. All right. Oh, I feel it all lifting up and off here. So if you've had trouble sleeping, I'm just going to provide a clearing right now for all of you. All right. They want me to pull a few oracles just to kind of close up the reading, and I just need to grab that deck. I'll be right back. 1 second. All right, I'm back. So for those, so this worked beautifully, and the people that were lagging behind are going to catch up, and they're going to be safeguarded while they do that work. So your inner alchemy, I transform challenges into opportunities, harnessing my inner alchemy for growth. So that's pretty much this reading, what we talked about. You're connected to the light. You might have an elven background, right? Look at the ears there. And galactic beings as well are going to come forward and help you channel from the realms in such a way that helps keep you more grounded here in the earth plane, less worried and focused about some of the spiritual warfare that's happened. It's really difficult to move forward after being exposed and having to deal and face with something like this. And you really need time to rest and relax and really come back to a normal state of being and really disconnect from all this and not worry about it. This person really just wants you to focus on the natural elements of the world here: water, nature, animals, crystals, all the ways that are grounding for you. Prayer, okay, meditation, exercise, nutrition, work, mission work, family, friends, loved ones, social, music, art. All right. You're in good company. Don't worry. You nothing. You were never ever going to be at risk of ongoing harm from these energies that we just channeled earlier, okay? You were always safeguarded, but you still had to do the work to learn and grow and release past trauma linked to this. That's why it remanifested again in this life, okay? But you faced it head on. Your person faced it head on. You did it together, and now you're going to move forward in your new life here. So divine wisdom. I trust my inner wisdom and know that it guides me towards my highest good. See, this is just confirming what we just talked about. And the animal kingdom is very much around you, and not to worry that this person here is going to run into some karmic justice, and karmic law has been issued here. So he or she is going to now face the repercussions of doing things like this. In the animal kingdom, let me tell you, when they step forward and manage things, when they're told that they can, and it's time for them to kind of step in and help, there's no contending with energies like this. And they're going to operate both in the realms and in the physical world, and they're going to work together with you. And just know that you don't walk alone. They're all around you, and they're dishing out karmic justice here is going to be dealt with in such a way that it's going to be very clear to these people, okay, and this person, that they are dealing with a divine now. and you are free and clear. You're walking away. There's no more ties here, right? The bindings are gone. And now they're going to face justice and judgment. Okay. Mystic flow, let's see. I flow with the mystic energy of the universe, embracing each moment as it comes. That's you. Okay. And you've stepped into the light. You chose the light. You chose each other. Okay. And the portals are opening up now for you to step into that energy. So I see marriages, I see trips, I see laughter, I see families having a picnic, having meals, harnessing just joy and compassion and comfort. And it's long lasting here, okay? And I see some people are still a bit nervous and scared. I see you as a spiritual couple in the realm holding hands, and you can see it, but you're not quite ready yet to step into it. So I want to be able to help you move forward a little bit. Let's see what I can do to assist with that. They're just asking me, so we're just going to call upon Archangel Metatron to help add an extra layer of protection with the Metatronic grids that Archangel Metatron uses. Those aren't going to be shown to us with words or audio or visual. It's just I'm going to channel it through me directly from Archangel Metatron to these couples here that need that extra support to be able to feel safe in stepping out of the realm now, spiritual realm, into the physical plane as a couple. It's okay. It's okay. And what I sense from these couples is the fear that they're going to be tracked by energies like this. Okay, but the portals have been closed. You don't have to worry about that. You're safe. Now I see guides with their hands on the backs of the masculine energy. And that's to help that masculine energy understand about what's afforded here to the couple, that there is protection and there's no risks anymore. That they both see very clearly and have a very good understanding of how to manage their lives moving forward, how to have healthy boundaries, how to keep themselves safe, how to be healthy physically, emotionally, their finances are safe. Like none of these areas can be attacked anymore in such a way that would have this couple struggle or lose each other in a very tragic way. Because these were repeated patterns and cycles and life after life. So it's very traumatic to relive these things. And even though we come in with the veil, a lot of us still remember because it's codes and it's experiences embedded in our fields. A part of you just always kind of sensed it and felt it. You just cognitively, consciously didn't always understand. It's buried in the subconscious, okay? So I feel like Archangel Siriel is coming forward as well. That's an angel that I haven't come across anywhere else, but always is with me and travels the timeline all the time and battles between the second, third dimension in the third and fourth, keeps us safe as we travel that in-between dimension, okay? Because we are ascending into a higher and a newer plane of a consciousness, new level of consciousness on our soul's journey here. And so that new world that people talk about, that is where most of us are stepping into. And for those who aren't afforded an ability to move up and ascend, it's because they haven't learned the lesson. They're going to spiral down back into those darker parts. Unfortunately, some are very lost, and I don't channel any of that, don't want to, but just it's to reassure you that there's very serious consequences to a lot of, to everything. Everything everything has cause and effect. Okay. It's not a punishment, but it's about frequency and vibration. In order to ascend, you need to hold a certain vibration, okay? And you can, for some people, I feel like they really want to study that more and expand on people's understanding of that. And I think that's fantastic because health isn't just about the physical, okay? I think we are making huge strides with quantum physics, and I think more and more research is needed, and have people be able to translate that for the normal average person who may not be able to understand it at that same level. It's really difficult to translate things sometimes, okay? But I feel like all of that is coming. It is coming, and it's going to happen very rapidly. So for many light workers that are here, they're here to assist with that. And so I think we're going to have tremendous success now as we step into that part of the timeline where we're ready. So all right, I see that couple now packing some things, and they're nervous, but they're ready to go. There's a lot of sadness, but it's because they know they have to leave certain people behind, and it's not easy. It's not easy. But you can always send love and light back to people as you step forward. And if that means you're moving, however your life is going to change, it's okay. It's part of life, right? Not everyone can come with us. All right, so they just want me to close everything up here. Yeah, this wishy-washy energy is now behind, and there's no more isolation. These lovers have overcome everything that's been needed here, and their understanding of healthier boundaries is intact, and it'll bring joy to the situation, okay? And the divine is sending people ahead to make sure that as you step into your new timeline and as you step into your new path and all the changes that are coming in here for you, that you'll be safe, okay? So on that note, I congratulate all of you once again for having faith, staying connected to Source, loving yourself, and fighting the good fight here, because this was not an easy situation to overcome. Okay, and words really don't exist to really explain it properly. But thank you for your patience, and I hope that this was helpful in any way that it might have been for you. All right, stay safe, everyone. Take care.